Hello everybody and welcome to Kabbalah of Adam. We are going to continue today in our class on Ezekiel. Now, prior to doing this class, we did an 11-part series on Metatron. And if you're just watching this class for the first time, please go back and watch that 11-part series so that this will make sense. Because the secret is Ezekiel is seeing and describing the pratim and the klalim, the parts and the whole of the sum of Metatron. And so this is one of the classes, it's very difficult to learn, it's very difficult to teach. I thought Metatron class was difficult enough, but once we got the axioms down and we put Hoof on everything, Hasidim and Guvarot, and the union of, it's going to free us up here to really dig into this and get a glimpse of a piece of Torah that there's not a lot out there, that not a whole lot is taught on it. And so we did, in our first class, we're in chapter 1, we did from 1 through 4, and we're going to do like 5 through 7 maybe today. So we'll go ahead and say our prayer and we will get started here. And this class it's pretty epic. So we'll get through it. Work with me. All right, ruler of the universe and master of all masters, Father of mercy and forgiveness, we thank you, our God and the God of our fathers, by bowing down and kneeling, that you brought us closer to your Torah and your holy work, and that you enable us to take part in the secrets of your holy Torah. How worthy are we that you grant us with such a big favor. That is the reason we plead before you, that you will forgive and acquit all of our sins, and they should not bring separation between you and us. May it be your will before you, our God and the God of our fathers, that you will awake and prepare our hearts to love and revere you. And may you listen to our utterances and open our closed heart to the hidden study of your Torah. And may our study be pleasant before your place of honor as aroma of sweet incense. And may you emanate to us light from the source of our soul to all of our being. And may the sparks of your holy servants, through which you revealed your wisdom to the world, shine. And may their merit and the merit of their fathers and the merit of their Torah and holiness support us, so we shall not stumble through our study. And by their merit enlighten our eyes in our learning, as stated by King David, the sweet singer of Israel. Open my eyes so that I will see wonders from your Torah. Because from his mouth God gives wisdom and understanding. May the utterance of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, God, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. While I was reading the prayer, I just figured something out. There is a Hazal that says, once a man looked into the Hashmal. In other words, he was studying the Hashmal, and he was burned up. So it is a warning of what so everybody stays away from Hashmal. What is the secret of Torah? And at any time there's a negative, you infer the positive. What happened to Enoch? He became flames of fire. He became Metatron. So now turn the statement around. Whenever you look into the Hashmal, you become it. Right. So I'm going to have to look into that, but
it may not be the negative it seems.
That's correct. So before we get in deep, if y'all have the Zohar at home, I have this one. In book 20, in Parsha Pinchas, in Pinchas A, because there's two, be book 20 and 21. So this is book 20. Next week, there is about, 10, 15 pages in the middle of this that is about Ezekiel's vision. And I'm going to read just a little bit to you, the introduction, so you'll see the correspondence of what we're fixing to study. But then next week, we've got to go through this because this is it's a biggie. So in my book, It's on page 213, basically. It starts at 211. It's right after paragraph 247. And they give a synopsis here, and they give a little bit of relevance to the passage. So I'm just going to go through this right quick, and it will help you with what we're fixing to get into. The faithful shepherd tells us about Ezekiel's 10 visions of Metatron. Here we hear a good deal about the meaning of the color blue and why it's so important in the season Tali. Through the sacred numerical meaning of many words and the letters, we are led through an explanation of the throne with the sapphire stone, the 6 steps, the 4 beasts, and the 4 faces, which we will cover today. We are told that Metatron includes all the stages downwards from above and upwards from below, which we will cover today. Many of them. The Zohar's description of Ezekiel's vision lifts our soul into places of warmth with the protective embrace of the Shekhinah, the divine presence, revealing the full splendor of light that shines from the 10 Sfirot. The name of Metatron, we are told, conceals the Hebrew letters for life. Het Yud, pronounced Chai. The numerical value of Chai is 18. Okay? And if you've studied with me long enough, you know there's a bunch of 18s, right? But 18 is achieved through the 2 letters Tet in the name of Metatron. Tet is 9. The other Tet is 9. That's 18. So encapsulated in the name of Metatron is Tet. All right? And we're going to get into what the remaining letters are. Ramon, which is a pomegranate. That's 613 seeds in a pomegranate. That's the Torah. So the life in the Torah is, the name encapsulates everything. Okay? Moreover, Metatron, as we have learned in earlier passages, embodies the concept of the restoration of youth and immortality. Thus, the power of life, of immortality, and the reversal of the aging process preeminates the cells and souls of our body. That's the resurrection, as we've learned in our Metatron class. This indestructible life force flows to us from the dimension of Yesod and fills our material realm, and the angel of death and forces of chaos are vanquished from existence. So that's a little bit of a overview of what this piece is going to have in it. Briefly, remember last class, the river Chavar was the Euphrates that was coming out of the garden. It's a hermetically sealed place. That way Ezekiel could have this vision. If you take the word for chariot, so if you take Chavar as Kaf Bet Resh, if you change the letters around to Resh Bet Kaf, it's chariot. Mir Chava. So not only is the place he's in, the river Chavar, it's also the Kava, the place of movement. All right? Depends on which way you're looking at it from. From his point of view, he's in the river Kavar. From its point of view, it's in the Kava, the chariot, the divine movement, the sheer coma, the metatronics of the whole thing. So one reason Ezekiel's vision is so hard to understand is first you have to understand what Metatron is and what Metatron is not. Metatron is everything, and then you have to tell yourself there is no Metatron. There's only Metatronics. There's only the workings of the chariot, the Masa Merkava. And the Talmud is nothing more than Masa Merkava, every piece of it. And I'm going to give you a piece of Talmud tonight when we get to the correct spot to again prove it like we try to always do. That every sage in the Talmud knows what this is. This is not something new to them. One more little piece here. We went through last week the four klippas, and now we're getting into the angels, and it's going to be a very holographic. It's holographic, but it's also hierarchical, like a hierarchy. And so if you take the word holo from holography and archy from hierarchy and put them together, we are going to see that there is a holo-hierarchy. It's holographic, yet a hierarchy, okay? So it's kind of a new term. We made that up, you know? So the faithful shepherd, this is in Pinchas on page 223 in the book. You're welcome to read it at home. The four klippas surrounding the four living creatures. The faithful shepherd tells us that the klippa that surrounds the four beasts of Metatron are saying they are formless and void and thin and the deep. Compares to the milling of wheat, to the removal of the bran with the halakha that refines Torah matters and provides food for the soul. It talks about the four archangels who control man's food, the four good elements, water, fire, wind, and earth, and the four klippas, sin, destruction, anger, and wrath. When these klippa move away from the man of the tree, the tree of life takes control of him. Every part of his body is found water, the firmament, the spirit, and earth. And all parts of the body are open and welcome to the spirit. When the spirit, where the spirit is not to bow to the heart, the fire would burn. If it were not for the spirit to bow to the heart, the fire of the heart would burn up the body. And then it gets into all Zeranpin and Elijah. It gets into David, where David's talking about stuff. It even mentions the nations and Ishmael and Christianity and Edom and all those things. And this whole piece right in here is about Metatron in the Zohar. So next week, I'm just giving you a little preface here, but you need it for this class. We're going to go into this very deep, all right? So without further ado, verse 5. And in the midst, there was a likeness of four chayos. There was this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, of an Adam. They looked like Adam. Each one had four faces, and each one of them had four wings. So you're seeing some words here. In the midst, in the midst, in the midst, right? And the likeness and the appearance. Remember, from our Metatron class, God said, Metatron said, let us make man, Adam, in our appearance and our likeness. Our demut and our tselem. We see it here again. What is he seeing? He's seeing the Adamic structure, the Adamic Metatronic structure. Where am I at? Verse 7. Their legs were a straight leg. Their legs were a straight leg. Singular. Plural, singular. Okay? The sole of their feet was like the sole of a rounded hoof. This is the split hoof. All right? The rounded hoof, the split hoof. Everything, you're going to start seeing where all that split hoof stuff, all that stuff starts coming into being because we're getting to see the Metatronic structure.
Does yours say split hoof?
No, I'm just telling you that's what it is. And they glittered with the color of burnished copper, polished copper, let's call it. And there were human hands under their wings on all four sides. Their faces and their wings were alike on the four of them. And I don't know that I have 9. Let me see if I have 9. I will read it. Yes, I do have 9 done. And their wings were joined one to another. They did not turn as they went. Each in the direction of its face they would go. So even the Peshat is incredibly cryptic. What does it mean? They moved, they didn't move, but they went straight, you know? So, here we go. My stomach growling. Okay, we're going to start off with the word likeness. In verse 5. The likeness, the demut. These 4 creatures, they correspond to the 4 parts of a walnut. A walnut has a klipa. He's already come through the klipa. But then there's 4 levels of klipa. All right? These are the 4 letters of Yud He Vav He. This is the midst inside the malbush. He is going deeper into the malbush. He's going into the klipa, into the garment, into the hashmal, right? He's going deeper. And the Merkava of these 4 letters are the 4 Malakim as is known. So these 4 angels are representing these 4 letters of Havayah. They are Michael, Gavriel, Nuriel, and Raphael. They are the secret of the word purple in Hebrew is argamon. Argamon is, if you take the R and the G and the M and the N, each 4 letters of those angels spells argamon, which is the color purple. Purple is the color of royalty. But what about the first letter? Ravali says, Uriel is the first letter. The angel Uriel is the first letter. It's always there. And is equal to the last letter, Nuriel and Argamon. These are the same. Uriel and Nuriel are the bookends. They're the same. Because we're talking 4D here. There is no end. There is no beginning. So they're the bookends. They're the same. Yet they have a name to distinguish them. These are known as light and fire. The center column is Uriel, known as light. And Nuriel is known as fire. Corresponding to the light of Uriel and the fire of Nuriel, this is, the river of fire is called the river Denur. Nuriel, Denur, comes from the root nur, fire. That which the prophet said, the likeness, demut. Why didn't he just say, I saw 4 angels? Would have been easier. Why did he say the likeness of, the demut of? Because the image, Tselem, is male. And the demut is female. Because this is lesser than. Right? That's female. So let us make man in our image and our likeness, and God made them male and female. Because Tselem is male and demut is female. So he's seeing the whole Adamic structure here. All right? But he's only seeing it from the female aspect. Because he's receiving something. Because now he's in the female aspect. And we will learn more about that when we understand their legs. Basically, they are the stamp or the imprint of. It's like a stamp, an imprint, right? Image and likeness. This is talked about in Genesis, image and likeness, and then it's reversed in Genesis. One says image and likeness, another says likeness and image. Why is everything demute? Appearance, in the appearance of, or in the likeness of. Because he is seeing them in the lower levels. He is not seeing them in Berea. He's seeing them in Yetzirah, in the lower levels. The Gemara asks, what is the difference between Isaiah's vision and Ezekiel's vision? Because Isaiah, when he sees his vision, he only writes a couple lines. When Ezekiel sees his vision, it's a couple chapters. They're seeing the same thing. Why is it so different? Remember, Daniel prophesies from Asiya. So the whole book of Daniel is nothing but the whole thing, right? Moving up, Ezekiel prophesies from Yetzirah. So there's a few chapters. Moving higher in Berea, Isaiah prophesies from Berea. So just a little bit. Moses prophesies from Atzilut. Moses doesn't have any prophecies. He was talking to God straight out. All right? So, the Gemara answers, it is like a city dweller versus a villager. Okay? If you've never been to New York City, how do New Yorkers know who's from out of town? They all walk around like this, looking up at the buildings. They see it every day. It's no big deal. When, you know, if you went to New York, you'd call back home and say, you wouldn't believe these buildings. You know, talk about everything that goes on in New York. You call a New Yorker and they're like, oh yeah, I went to work today, came home. Because they're in it all the time. There's nothing strange to them. Okay? Daniel, it's a whole book. Ezekiel, a couple chapters. Isaiah, a couple lines. Because these guys are always living in that space. And that's why Moses, I talk to God like friend to friend. You know, it's no big deal. So this is how the Gemara solves the kasha. Therefore, he saw the vision of multi-dimensions of the appearance of the light, not the image itself. He's seeing its avatar almost, let's call it. Demut. He's seeing the virtual simulation of the higher dimension in fractal replications, where Moses speaks God face to face. From the word doma. Doma means demut, doma. Doma means similar to. This was the appearance. Now the appearance of Adam becomes super holographic, and he's seeing everything. They all have the simulation, the appearance of, because the virtual Adam is the most complete and contains the most. Adam, and as it's going, it's just, you know, before long you got myriads of angels, but when you go up, it's just one big gestalt. And the completion of its letter, the Aleph. The Aleph is a Vav and two Yuds. The Aleph is a Vav with two Yuds. because the Vav is 6 and the 2 Yuds are 10 and 10. So the gematria, even though Aleph is 1, the letters that make up the Aleph equals 26. Yud He Vav He. So if Moses is looking at the Aleph, it's 1. If he's looking at the Aleph, he's looking at the 26 pieces. This is Zeranpin, who is united together with the 2 worlds of Rachel and Leah. Because the Dalet is 4. This is the revealed aspect of Rachel. Because a Dalet has 2 doors and 2 hinges. And the Malchut is the door. So he's setting this up. He is telling us masculine aspects, and he's telling us feminine aspects. He's telling us why he's seeing all the aspects, and he's telling us why it's female. Because he's going through the Malchut of Yetzirah, which is female, which is going from Rachel to Leah, which is a secret of the ladder, right? Mm-hmm. And the female Yesod has 2 doors and 2 windows. All right? And then Rabbi Akiva comes, Anarchy, and y'all studied with me long enough, you understand what all that means. The mem, the final mem, is a closed mem. It is the secret of 4D because it's closed. These are the 4 letters of Adam: Aleph, Daled, Mem. 4D, feminine, masculine, singular, contains the Havayah. This is the completeness of Zeranpin. It is in union, the word Adam even is in union with the upper and lower Shekhinah because it has 2 Guvarots. Both Heys are female. The Hey is female. Furthermore, Yud He Vav He, the written with the Alephs, is the word Ma, which is gematria 45, and Aleph Daled Mem is 45. We have a standing joke in here. 45 is Zah, Zah is Ma, and Ma is Adam, and it's 45. This if you want to watch that series, go back and watch the 26 pages of 26 classes on inner space. It's all in there. So, this is the essence of expansion itself, and it divides itself into the 4 Hayot, the 4 angels, which are the Yud, He, Vav, He. Vali's given us a preface here of what he's fixing to go into, because if you don't understand all the little intricacies of Metatronics right here, you're not going to understand the angels. So, the Yud is Michael. The He is Gabriel. The Vav is Nuriel. And the H is Raphael. Yud He Vav He. Now, this should bring up a kasha. Remember Abraham. Abraham is visited by the angels. Which angels visited him? Y'all remember? Gabriel
and Michael.
Michael. There's 3. Raphael. What was Michael there to do? Y'all remember?
Tell Sarah.
Tell Sarah she was pregnant. What was Gabriel there to do? Destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. What was Raphael there to do?
Eat.
Raphael's the healer. Rapha. What was he healing? What needed to be healed? Abraham had just went through something. Circumcision. And it said God showed up. Well, of course it did. Who's the Vav at this point? Abraham. The Yud Hey Vav Hey is there. And Abraham spoke with God. Because that was Adam. Because those are only the fractals of Adam. That's why it says 3 men showed up. They had the appearance of a man, and God spoke with, and Moses.
That's why they had Yud Hey Vav Hey there.
That's right. And Abraham spoke with God. And so what does Christianity do? Oh, there was a man. That must have been Jesus. Every time. But if you know the fractal formula, you don't get caught in the klipa on the backside. Now, let's read verse 5 again. And in its midst, there was a likeness of 4 hyots. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of Adam. And now you understand verse 5. Verse 6. Let's read verse 6. We'll explain verse 6, and then we'll go back and read verse 6. Let me find 6. Each had 4 faces, and each one of them had 4 wings. However, Rav Ali says, each image that he is seeing is super holographic. Each takes the energy from the other. It's called a shlemut. The completion of the unification in the upper realms that causes love and intimacy between them. And the fear is with him, and this makes peace in the heavens. This is alluding to the 2 Malachim, Gabriel and Michael, water and fire. You would think one put the other one out. But it's Hug. It's Hasidim and Guvarot.
One mitigates the other.
One mitigates the other. Despite that, there is peace between them, completion, because they are holographic. They are interwoven. Because each one of them is taking his power of his neighbor, and there's no jealousy between them. Jealousy only occurs when things are missing. When there is love, there is completion, completeness. It is what happens. It has what the other one has. This is called du partsufing. The 2 that's 1. Right? Greater Metatron, lesser Metatron. Messiah ben Joseph, Messiah ben David. Hasidim and Guvarot, Zah and Nook. You can go on forever. Right? Michael and Gabriel. They're just one, but they're interwoven, interlocking. The 4 Yud Hey Vav Hey, of the 4, which is the Yud Hey Vav Hey, it dwells upon all 4. Each one collectively, yet each one individually. Because, if we had 4, it would look like that, right? Likewise, just like Yud Hey Vav Hey in them, so too is their extensions, the wings. Because wings are extensions. Faces are the inner aspects, and the wings are the outer aspects. Just as wings cover the body, so does the Adonai, cover Yud Hey Vav Hey and conceal it. Even though it's Yud Hey Vav Hey, Adonai is there. Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. This is the secret of the Shema. Right? You remember the thing where we had I'm going to write it this way. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, and then Af, Dal, Nun, Yud. Remember, this is the 4 bowings. This goes down and picks that up. This goes down and picks that up. Remember that graphic that we had that time in the prayer? So even though this is the inner, this is called the faces, Adonai is called the wings. Makes sense? Inner and outer. The panim is the face. So this is the Agulim and Yosher. You know, straight like, curve like. Excuse me. Because Merkava means transition. It can mean interlocking. And it can mean in both directions. Masa Merkava. The workings of the chariots. This is done in order to inform further about the completeness of the 4th dimension. This is what it tells us. All right, let's go back and read that. Six. Each one had 4 faces, and each one of them had 4 wings. And now you know. That's the Havayah and the Adonai. Okay? I think this is where 7 starts. Right here. Okay, verse 7. Their legs, sorry, Russell. Their legs were straight, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a rounded foot, and they glittered with the color of burnished copper. It says their legs were straight. The 2, that is 1, in 4D. Why is it this way? Because the left side has no adhesion to the klipa. They have no duality. There's no wishbone. The 2 that are 1. Okay? Now, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm gonna prove this when we get to. Yeah, we'll get there. So the angel could not overcome Jacob. So he touched him in his hip socket in 3D. These 2, the 2 that are 1, but in 3D it's 2. So that's where the angel hit him in his hip socket. But we know the story. That's Netzach and Hod. We'll clean it up and say he hit him in the groin. Okay? Because that's Netzach and Hod. Because that aspect of male is fixing to come into play, and the aspect of female is fixing to come into play. So we'll try to use very clean language as we go. Why is it describing the legs as 1, as straight, as Yosher, straight like? Because it has to do with their creator. There is no adhesa. There's no adhesion to the klipa. It's pure. There's no adhesa there. However, the sole of their feet was like a rounded foot. The word here, rounded, is the same word for circle. But the same word is agal, which means a calf. A calf has a split hoof. Why? Because they have to be able to give the flow. Now, a man has 2 parts of his body that are created in Yosher. The 2 hemispheres of his brain, but he has 1 head. The 2 testicles, yet they're in 1 container. the legs that are straight. That's the secret of the male yesod, phallus. It's in the image and likeness. That's the masculine part. The feminine part, that's the straight light. The curved light, the split hoof part, is the female yesod. I don't have to draw that out of picture, right? This is the split hoof. Why? Because it has to be able to give. That's a birth. Receiving, birth, giving. Because the matter of the wings is the mechanics. The wings are the externals. The mechanics is the masa, the workings, and the chariot, the Merkava. This is the workings of the chariot. This is the mechanics. He's literally telling us how this thing operates. The Metatronics, the operating system. This is the Merkava. What's the mechanics of wings? What do they need wings for? Right? Where do they need to fly? Movement. That which goes up to receive from above, and the indentation of the feet gives to the lower. Just like husbands and wives. Why does it say like bronze? Why doesn't it say like silver, or hasidim, or gold? Of course, gold, purified gold, is really absolute. Why does it have to be bronze? Where's he at? He's in Yetzirah. Iron, bronze, silver, and gold. Remember Daniel's vision? Legs of iron, chest of bronze, arms of silver, head of gold. Babylon, Media, Persia, Greek, Roman. Okay? He's in Yetzirah. In Yetzirah, it's bronze. If this prophecy would have been in Berea, been silver. Like bronze, because bronze is full, this is polished bronze. Really, if you look at bronze, it kind of has a pearl to it. You can see yellows and greens and reds and all that. Because bronze is full of the lights that are glittering from every perspective. Similar to bronze that is polished. That it shoots out the glittering light to every angel. Why bronze? It's Teferet. This is the Sod of Yetzirah, which is bronze. And these Hayot are the, quote, middlemen of the Malachim. Because Seraphim are in Berea and Ophanim are in Asiya, as we have on the chart. From 15 years ago. Because Ophan means wheel. And he's going to talk about the wheel within a wheel. These are the angels within angels. And every preacher going to get on a wheel within a wheel. Why does it say that the soul was like the soul of an agal, a round calf? Why not an ox? Would make sense. Why doesn't it say the face? Because there's a face of an ox in one vision, right? Because the calf is a shore. But a shore, a bull, an ox, but a calf is mitigated. Now, big kasha. Why did they build a golden calf? Now that you know what bronze is, and now that you know what a calf is, we're not dealing with dummies, right, in the desert at Mount Sinai. Mm-hmm. They built a golden calf. Why? They knew what they were doing.
Well, they're doing something not salute.
The problem is, the gold is from Atzilut. Mm-hmm. They ain't in Atzilut because the Erev Ra made it. They're at the bottom of the Sulam. They're on the bottom of the rung. Moses and the elders are up there. They're absolutely, right? But what did they put on the golden calf with it? A donkey. It's half donkey. Remember, that's Guvaro. They weren't trying to build a god. They were trying to build something to lead them through Yetzirah. They thought Moses was dead. What they were doing was right. The formulation was wrong. That's why Aaron didn't bother with it. Don't worry about it. Tomorrow we'll have a feast. Yeah, y'all go ahead. Remember from that? So, little side note there. Now, let's read 7. Their legs were a straight leg, and the sole of their feet, and their feet was like the sole of a rounded foot, an agal. And they glittered with the color of burnished copper. Now you know what that means. Okay. So, there's a question here, real quick. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. Bull, cow, calf, heifer. So now you know why there's the calf is the Vav in Yetzirah. What's in Asiya? The red heifer. It's all about mitigation of Guvaro. Okay? What did Solomon kill 70 of? The dedication of the temple. He was cutting the head off the klipa of the corresponding Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. Follow me? Now, let's read 8. There were human hands under the wings, on their 4 sides. Their faces and their wings were alike on the 4 of them. Hands of a man, why does it say this? From the power of being drawn upon them, this is the secret of Adam's hands, of Adam. This is Shem Ma. This is that human, Shem Ma. Adam. That from below, it can take them up. How do you pick up a kid? You put your hands under them and lift them up. Or you can hold them as you lift them down. Okay? Because there's no such thing as 40 hands, right? This is the sod of elevating hands, and you can read in Tani and in the Gemara here if you want to. This is book number 19 if you have it at home. Tractate Tanis. It talks about all the times that they can raise their hands and lower their hands and do all this. What happened when Moses raised his hands? They were defeating Amalekite, right? When they let them down, they weren't, right? So 4D, 3D. Under their wings on each side of their 4 sides. These are the Malachim under them. So these are the Ophanim that are supporting them. Everything's links in a chain. Because these weight down and cannot go up without help. Therefore, they take them up. The inner secret is this. These 4 hands are the 4 letters of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh that elevate the 4 letters of Adonai. Because there's 4 Malachim. Which is why it's doubled on all, which it was why it's doubled when it says on their 4 sides. It can be read as on their 4 sittings. Your sittings. Why is it talking about faces and wings? Just like the faces and wings above them, you have the same below them. It's a hologram. The secret of the matter is this, Shelu. This is the union of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh and Adonai, known as faces, and wings. It is written his hand, but it's pronounced his hands. If you look, this is the hand of Adam, quote, hands, which is the Havayah, like human hands. It is written in the Hebrew, human hand, in the singular. This is how Adam is doing the tikkun, from up to down and down to up. This is known as man. Man is feminine waters going up, and mod is coming down. Man, the hands going up, mod, hands coming down. This is always going on. You can now see the mechanics is going on everywhere. Berea, Yetzirah, Asiya, it's always happening. So, if you have this, Tanis, I'm turning to, most of this passage is talking about rain. And basically it says, for every one drop that comes down, two have to come up. Does it mean two drops are going up and one's coming down? No, they're telling you the two that's one. So it says,
What page are you
I'm on page Tanis, or what they call it, Tanit 25b1. On 12b, the Mishnah states that if a series of fasts was concluded and the rain still did not come, the subsequent series of fasts was declared. The implication of that, if rain did not come, then if rain did come, then no further fasts were needed to be declared. The following brisa considers the amount of rainfall that is deemed to be an end of the drought, therefore making further fasting unnecessary. Now we know rain, 100% of rain is about Sol Gilgal, okay? And here's the secret of rain. The secret of rain is the secret of the sacrificial system. So we have dirt, right? We have a seed in the ground, and we have man. Now, man is Atzilut, the animal is Berea, the plant is Yetzirah, and the ground, the earth, is Asiya. So, when rain comes down, the seed can sprout in the ground, which then elevates it up to Yetzirah. Then once it's in Yetzirah, the animal eats the plant, and then the person can either sacrifice the animal and release the Gilgal soul, or he can eat the animal, and it takes everything from Asiya up to Atzilut. That's the secret of the rains. It's all about soul, Gilgal, and transmigration. So,
Well, I see is the ground.
sea is the ground. Yeah. So, anyway, the Gemara says, the rabbis taught in a brisa, how much must it rain that the community should cease from fasting? The depth of the blade of a plow. These are the words of Rebbe Meir. For the sages say, in the case of dry soil, the penetration is 1 handbreadth is sufficient to cease fasting. In the case of medium soil, 2 handbreadths. Everything in here is following this exact same pattern of the whole Masa Merkaba. There's 1, then there's 2. Or there's 2, then there's 1. Everything, depending on which side you're on. Okay? Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. So now let's go back and let's read verse 8 and you'll understand it. There were human hands under the wings on their 4 sides. Their faces and their wings were alike on the 4 of them. Now, verse 9. Their wings were joined one to another. They did not turn as they went. Each in its own direction of its face they would go. They were joined to another. It says in the Hebrew that their wings were attached and the words it's used in the Hebrew is as a woman to her sister. And it says they went straight. Why did they go straight? Because there is no backside. There's no Acharaim. Plus, it's Yosher, straight line. What is moving in 4D? What is straight or up or down or sideways in Atzilut? Seeing the Merkava in 4D in 3 Yetzirah. What does that even look like? Because there is not such thing as moving place to place, but yet it's larger and larger. It's expansion. Yet what is that in 4D? Higher is increased. When you're in the higher and there's increased because there's union, it's doubled. Each going straight in its own direction. The intensity is getting better. The quality is also what is increasing. The higher holiness does not dwell in the lower dimension unless there is unification, unless there's love, peace, closeness, and fraternity. The secret of the wings, that the secret of their wings were attached as a woman to her sister. The inner sod of this, here is the essence of Yud He Vav He when it unites with the branches of Adonai, known as faces and wings, as we've said before. It works only if the branches are unified to the vessels. The Aleph with the Dalet with the Nun, and the Nun with the Yud. The woman to her sisters. This is like they're girlfriends, they're a tight-knit group, Doesn't mean, it's a sisterhood, let's call it. That they will be sealed in union. The lower must be subservient to the higher. They did not turn. Wherever you look is straight there. It's holographic and hierarchical. It's a holo-hierarchy. This is the secret. If you look at a Mandelbrot set, it's moving. Which way is it moving? Straight. You see? But this is not the way of external forces. External forces, the Klippa, have no path. The shadow of death is without order and is called chaos. This is the way of foxes. The backside, the Klippa, is known as the foxes of Samson. They go in all directions. So when Samson wanted to burn up all the crops, what did he do? He got 300 foxes, which is 300. That's a whole nother level, right? What we're talking about. He ties them all together because they're all going to go in opposite directions, because only in 4D is there no Klippa. Everything's straight. In 3D, it's chaos. So he lights them all on fire and turns them loose, and they all go in different directions. The foxes are known as Klippa. They are a light, a archetype, right? And in the Klippa, there's division between them. The word there is actually maklokas. Meaning, these did not turn as they moved. Each went straight, the side of its face, it went. Each one was happy with its portion and sought not its neighbor's portion. The ox doesn't fringe on the lion. Likewise, the face of a lion doesn't sink the face of an eagle or a man. They do not override the borders or the mission or the operation that they are sent to do. But the unification with them is like it is like the feet to your hands. Your feet do not want to do what your hands do, and your hands do not want to do what your feet do, yet they both work in unison for you to have motion. And the Torah is amazing, and the sages are amazing, and we'll continue next week on our journey through Ezekiel's vision.